iOS 18 update could be the biggest update ever for iPhones. And well, I'm here for it because one of the biggest things that we're expecting is customizations to the home screen, which have been sorely lacking for a long time now. I'm sure it won't be exactly like the way Android does it, but one thing that I've hated, this is the thing I wanted to change for so long. Ever since I ever got my first iPhone, which was the iPhone 3G, way back when. It's been so irritating that every time you want to move around icons on your home screen, basically what happens here is you can't move them where you want. Like you delete one and it shifts it over. You add one in, it moves things over. And it's not something where you can just move them around. Also, you can't really configure it how you want. It's just here, slide it in there, move your whole thing around. Hopefully you don't mess it up. And I am notorious for this. Sometimes I fall asleep, or I'm holding on to my phone and I'll accidentally move one of my apps. I'm like, crap, which spot was it in? Or I might accidentally delete an icon when I'm not paying attention. And I know this probably doesn't apply to a lot of people, but it really, really irks me not being able to simply move my icons where I want them to be. I have a set configuration on my iOS devices. I have a set configuration on my Android phones. And I actually take a screenshot periodically because I don't know, it messes with my OCD. I have like actually medically diagnosed OCD. It's not just like it bothers me. It really bothers me. But anyway, moving around and customization features. I mean, we got some widgets, we got some customizations to the lock screen last go around. So the anticipation here is that we'll finally be able to customize it and make it more the way we want it to, and probably be able to do it easier. I'm sure Apple will have their own take on it because that's what Apple does. But I think it's a step in the right direction. Hopefully we see that. Now, when are we going to see this? Like, when is iOS 18 going to come out? Well, we'll have the WWDC conference in June. I think it's supposed to be June 10th this year. Of course, I'm not getting invited. Surprise of surprises. But that's when they'll go ahead and launch the beta, and then we'll get the full launch once the new iOS devices come out, once the new iPhones come out, probably around September. So other things that we can expect to see, maybe improvements. They're expecting improvements to Siri, calling it like Siri 2.0 or something like that. Everybody knows that Siri sucks. Like, it's terrible. It hasn't been updated meaningfully in years, and it's a pretty terrible experience. So we are expecting updates to Siri. Also, one big thing is enabling RCS support. The rumor is that, well, they said they were going to make RCS support this year. Clearly, it's not here yet, so that's something we can almost guarantee is going to happen with iOS 18. And it'll be interesting to see how they implement that and how well it works with Android devices actually using RCS, which I use all the time, especially with my Google phones. I use it with Samsung, all that stuff. So RCS support, if you're unaware, is basically the communication method that Google uses, which it allows you to do things similar to iMessage, where you can send like uncompressed video, uncompressed photos, better group message support, and things like that. So it should make Android and Apple phones communicate better, which I'm really excited about. I am all here for that. Another thing is they're talking about the possibility of generative AI. Now, we saw a rumor here recently. Well, not even a rumor. I mean, it's actually facts that Apple and Google are talking. Looks like they might be getting the Gemini AI stuff. I don't know if it's going to be Gemini Nano, but Gemini AI smart features. One thing that's been missing from the Apple conversation, basically up until this point, is AI. We've been talking about it for the last year or two. Google kind of started this stuff. And then Samsung, of course, Samsung, it was a big part of their keynote. They've got all their AI features, which are basically Google features. They either have the same name or they gave them a different name, right? So we've got like the interpreter, we've got circle to search, we've got summarization of different things like web pages. There's a lot of cool things that AI is doing, but we're not really getting those with Apple devices. So with iOS 18, we're expecting even possibly Apple's own generative AI model that you could do stuff on device with. And that would be cool. Because the generative AI, like ChatGPT, we had Bard, which turned into Gemini AI. We've got all sorts of different platforms out there that are doing generative AI now, where you can create things simply by typing them up and asking them to do things. So if we can get generative AI, if we can get some home screen improvements for customization, if we can get updates to Siri, if we get RCS support, that's a lot of the reasons why leading up to this, a lot of folks are saying, even I guess famous Apple leaker, I think his name's Mark Gurman or something, saying this could be the biggest iOS update ever. So if you've got an iOS device and you can get in the developer beta, I don't do it. I've never had really good luck with the betas, and a lot of times the betas will do things like have terrible battery drain. They'll have inconsistencies. They'll have bugs, things that crash your phone periodically. I don't like betas. I like to get the full version once they've got the kinks worked out of it. and then I'll get it when the new phone comes out. That's always one of the nice things. You get the new phone, you get the new operating system, and then it's kind of like a refresh, not just from a hardware perspective, but also from a software perspective. So I'm looking forward to this. But honestly, the biggest thing I'm looking forward to, and this is the biggest feature that I have been wanting them to change forever. Every time, like, oh, all these new things with Apple, and it's like, and I still can't customize my home screen the way that I want to. And I think that's kind of BS. I don't know why they've held on to this archaic way of doing things with their home screen for so long. I know they like to keep things the same. I know they don't like to make changes because everybody gets used to how it is. But just because people are used to how it is doesn't mean it's the best. It doesn't even mean that it's good. It just means that's how things were. And when you run a business and when you work in a developing world where there's a lot of emerging things that happen all the time, sometimes you need to change and refresh and do a tech update. And I think this is something that's been sorely lacking for a really, really long time. I mean, I don't know really anybody who likes the way that Apple does it whenever it comes to managing your thumbnail, or your icons and your apps and your home screen. So I'm interested to see all that stuff. I think that it'll be good. I'm sure there'll be even more things. I mean, WWDC is their developer convention where they outlay all the new stuff. We come up with the new operating system they announced for the Macs, the updates for like iOS, which of course will be iOS 18. So we'll see what happens once we get here. I will have more to talk about this once we actually know exactly what happens, which will be the developer conference, which will be in June. But we're just barely over 2 months away. We're just a couple days away from April. And then it's just a quick short jump to May and then to June. So a lot of exciting stuff happens this summer. We should have the Google I/O Developer Conference in May. Probably won't get invited to that either. But I really would like to go one day. I know that I'm probably not on a lot of people's list for invitations when it comes to this stuff because I'm very critical. I know I have a lot of thoughts and feelings that I don't really hold back whenever it comes to talking about any brand, whether it's Apple, whether it's Google, whether it's Samsung. I criticize them all pretty equally, so it's not very often I get invited to these things, but I would like to go one day. Like, I really want to go to Google I/O. I don't think I'll ever get to go to WWDC, but it would be really cool to go out there to their Cupertino campus and see like the Apple headquarters and that big building. It looks really cool, and it's always interesting to see these developer conferences and get to see all the cool stuff that comes out. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this stuff. I don't think I've ever made an iOS update video before, but this one I was sitting around, I'm like, man, if we finally get app customization on our screens, I will be ecstatic. And a lot of things I was seeing look like you might be able to put some invisible spaces in, kind of design it, set up your home screen the way you want, not just simply moving app icons where you want, but kind of styling it and setting it up better, especially if you implement widgets and things like that. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but it is expected to be the biggest iOS update ever, and I'm here for it. So that's all I've got in this video. If you have any questions, you have any thoughts, you have any concerns, if you're also excited about the prospect of moving icons where you want them to, sound off in the comments. We can talk about it and we can be happy about that. Hopefully it happens. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And also let me know. I don't really cover a whole lot of Apple topics on here. I've never really felt like my audience has been too big on them, but they seem to be getting some views here and there, so maybe more people than ever are interested in Apple stuff. So if you want me to cover more Apple things, or if you want to get my thoughts on different Apple stuff, then sound off, let me know, and maybe I can incorporate more of that into the channel moving forward. But that's all I got. As always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.